I feel like we are a society that eats too much food overall. Like the thing with, 3 meals and snacks in between. Like, but sometimes people don't know the size of those meals, and then you end up, eating too much. So that's why I was asking, because I think for a child, there's this thing of like, they're growing, like chuck it in, like, yeah.
So there is a theory that it's not a theory, it will be reality, but we change it because we need to fit things into our lives. But
that's Sushi, by the way, for our listeners. You're welcome.
Sushi is the dog, by the way.
Yeah, Sushi is the dog, not the sushi at the table. For the people listening, Sushi is Taylor's dog visiting our studio. Tell me the reality. Sorry, Rebecca.
So basically, from when you're born, you, as a newborn, know how much you need to eat. So when a baby is crying, or I haven't had a baby, so I caveat this with it would be an extremely hard process. So you feed when you can, right? But when you're born, you know when you're hungry, and you will ask for food when you're hungry. At some point, and it's probably comes into the fact that parents and people need to live their life and be able to structure their life. 3 meals or 6 meals get put into our day, but we may not be hungry. So we as human beings know and have hunger signs and go, I'm hungry now. But as a 4-year-old, you may not be hungry, but you need to eat lunch because it's lunchtime and there are things happening around that. So our bodies end up adapting to those meal times, but it's not what we're born with. So if you could, in a perfect world where everything could be fluid, which is not reality, you would just feed your baby when the baby was hungry. And then that would carry on, right? And so you would have meals available for when your 4-year-old was hungry. And if they're not hungry, you don't force them to eat it. It's just not reality, right? So that all starts falling into a structure, which that structure has ended up being meal times. Yeah. And so our bodies adapt to that very quickly as we grow. Yeah. So I guess to your also to your point that you probably just didn't like food for a while because it was forced on you. Not forced on you, but you know,
yeah. Because as your parents, they worry if you're not going to eat and you're a child.
Course.
And I was a runty, skinny little thing. Like it was like, eat your food. You need to,
and you possibly did need to. Yeah.
But it was just something that I just was so averse to. But then you hear the stories of kids that always get told to finish everything on their plate, and then when they're older they don't really know how to control their eating habits. Because the portion, like kind of what you were talking to with the portion sizes and things, you just kind of blow out a bit with that mentality, must eat everything that's on my plate.
And I've got a friend who he grew up in a family that they were all boys, huge Māori family, and the food went on the table in the middle and it was first in, right? Like if you snooze, you lose. So he is extremely fast eater. If you were to sit him at this table and he would eat with us, he will inhale his food really fast. And it's because that's just what he got used to having to do. If he was going to eat, you were going to eat really fast. And that kind of thing is embedded into you. I think it's 0 to 7. That's when we as humans form a majority of our perceptions and how we go about our day-to-day life. So that's when we're most impressionable. And so I imagine if something is happening to you in those years around food or anything else, that sticks with you, and that kind of thing is going to stick with you forever unless you consciously work a way around changing that. That's the psychological side, which is fascinating.